Hi, it's Kirk in Las Vegas, and this is episode 3 of Helix Studios Today.
I went and hung out with Travis over in Austin, Texas for a bit. Love him. He's such a witch bitch, crazy fag. What a flamer.
That was Garrett Kinsey for episode 1 talking about Travis Stevens. Next week, you'll hear what Travis said in response. We also discussed everything from aviation to pharmacology. Oh, and hot sex, too. Speaking of hot sex, today's guest is one of, if not the hottest top among the talented stars of Helix, a veteran performer who only seems to enhance his talents and skills with every new model he meets. It's Josh Brady. As we're recording, you've got a scene right after this. How many will that be for you? Do you have any idea?
Oh, God. I want to say I'm creeping on like 60, 65.
Wow. So when did you start? This is like 5 years for you.
I think I'm going on 6 years.
6 years?
Yeah, five going on 6.
So are you the senior Helix veteran we've got going on here?
I think there's a couple people who have been here longer, but I'm up there for sure.
So why have you stuck with the industry? What about it has made it, outside of getting, like you've got this new guy tonight, to Jeremy Hall, that you're breaking in, outside of being the break-in specialist, have you noticed this seems to be a trend for you?
Yeah, it does seem to be a trend. There was a point in time where I was only doing introduction scenes.
Really?
Yeah, I did like 4 in a row.
I know some people may find it hard to believe, but I've had sex. But even me, pretty much an exhibitionist, would be a little anxious about coming to do a on-camera erotic studio scene. What are some of the crazy things that have happened? And more importantly, what do you do to, well, settle down your co-star?
Are you like with new scenes?
Yeah, like tonight, you've got a new guy. He's going to be a little anxious. He's going to be a little nervous. What do you do to smooth his path, so to speak?
I mean, overall, I feel like I'm very mellow and chill. So that kind of demeanor, I feel, helps to begin with. I tend to just kind of lead and guide throughout the scene. Doing it so long, you kind of pick up little things here and there and kind of figure out how it's supposed to go. Well,
speaking of little things, that's not what you have. Some of the guys have almost said they're almost intimidated because of your thing.
Yeah, apparently it's pretty thick.
What made you start? Back in the day, go way back to 2016 when you began. What was your motivation? Why did you say, hey, I want to get into gay erotic entertainment?
Well, at the time, I was a go-go dancer. And
where was that at? Where?
In L.A.
In L.A.?
I did it throughout L.A. and Orange County.
Do you still live in L.A.? Or
I live in Orange County.
Orange County.
L.A. area. Yeah, it's a very conservative area, but I think it's more mellow than the city.
So, all right, so you're there go-go dancing, and one thing people think is that, oh my gosh, everybody in Helix, they're like 19 at the oldest. You're a little older. You're like, how old are you now?
25.
20? Oh, I wish I was so old, 25 years old. But so what made you pull the trigger and decide you wanted to do this?
I wasn't really enjoying go-go dancing anymore. It was a lot. I was working 6 days a week.
Now, were you totally nude, or are you not nude?
Mostly in underwear.
Underwear?
There was a couple times where I did nude stuff, but I just wasn't making the money that I wanted.
When you do the go-go nude, they have to put the tips in your socks, don't they?
I think the one time there was a little bucket. They had a bucket and the socks. You had 2 options.
Yeah, right. All right, so you're not making enough money doing that. You're working too many nights. And so you decided...
So I decided to I hit up one of my friends who was working with Helix at the time. And
who is that? Can you drop a name?
Luke Allen.
Oh, Luke Allen, sure.
Yeah, so I hit him up, got introduced to Casey and Alex, and applied. And I started, I think it was like a couple weeks later.
Okay, you've done these scenes, 60 scenes. What of all these scenes and who stand out in your mind as the ones that are most memorable? If you think back, if your career ended after tonight, because you got a scene tonight, after tonight, what would stand out in your mind and say, wow, these were the scenes that were the wildest or the most interesting or the most bizarre that you've come across?
Let's see. I mean, I've done a couple outdoor scenes. Those were fun.
Isn't the lighting tough for outside?
Oh, lighting is so hard for outside because you're working with the sunlight.
And you got to get the penetration. You want to sew that, and it gets lost in shadows.
Yeah, you're lost with shadows. You're on a time crunch to get everything done within the time frame. So.
Right.
is how much pressure is that? Because this is not just, you can fake it. You actually, especially you as the top, you have to stand and deliver, so to speak.
Yeah. I typically don't have a whole lot of issues with pressure, but I feel it's a little bit. It definitely adds a whole different aspect of pressure too.
One thing that I've noticed, and this is something I think a lot of fans would be interested in, how do you choreograph the cum shots? Because it always seems like the bottom comes first. I guess they give that cue. I'm almost there. You explain, and then the top seems to come after. How is that choreographed?
So, hate to ruin the movie magic on this one.
But... this is what this is about. Answering some questions for the fans.
Basically, there will be a break in between the final little cut where the bottom will come. And if they're able to, while they're getting fucked, it'll just be like, all right, come whenever. And they'll come, and then you'll do a fake out, which is just a face shot of the top saying, oh, I'm getting close.
Oh,
and then you jack off and come.
Gotcha.
And they cut it all together.
That's right. And what's interesting is here at Helix, they're actually women that are the editors.
And they are fantastic. I love both.
They are.
All three of them? I think there's three.
They're three, yeah. 2.5.
2.5, yeah.
Has this ever happened? And this would be my great fear. Doing a scene and it's like, I came too soon. How do you deal? Has that happened? And how do you deal with it? Not necessarily to you or maybe to your partner.
It does happen, and you're supposed to just kind of go with it. If it's already happening, you can't stop it. Just don't ruin the shot.
All right, we didn't answer the question, though. Of the scenes you've done, what sticks out? What do you say that just pops in your mind? Of the scene, what do you say, this was wild, this was crazy? You had said outdoors, and then what else?
I did a three-way, a triple double penetration.
Wow.
So all three of us got double penetrated.
No way.
Yeah.
I'll have to look up that one.
It was with Ashton Summers and Travis Stevens. I was about to say his real name. I couldn't think of it. Yeah.
You mean Josh Brady's not your real name?
Oh, it is. What are you talking about?
Oh, excuse me. Let me just interrupt my own show for a moment. As you'll hear next week, Travis Stevens, one of Josh's co-stars, also ranked that wild double penetration encounter as his favorite, too. The scene's title is Double or Nothing, and it also stars Ashton Summers and was released on June 9th, 2019. There is a link to it in the show notes. It was an award-winning scene. Take a look, and you'll see why. And now back to our regularly scheduled podcast.
Pick another one. That's pretty impressive. What else you can think of?
Let's go to the website.
That you have a problem that I wish I had. That I've done so many sex scenes, I can't remember which one's my favorite.
That's, it is a real thing. Like, I constantly am forgetting what scenes I have done.
Have you done scenes with somebody that you really, in real life, this wouldn't be somebody that I'd want to be with?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I feel like I have had a few scenes with people that I didn't really enjoy in multiple different aspects, but there's always going to be those scenes where you're not really vibing with the person or you're not into it.
How do you feel the scripting? Like, there are more movie scenes that are going on. There's this new puppy play one that's coming out here in the future. We've had this started with like Vegas Nights back in the day. How has this impacted what you do? How do you feel about, does it broaden the reach, broaden the range for you of what you've, not just sex, it's also a little theater involved?
Yeah, I've enjoyed that aspect. The adding more acting parts, making it more cinematic. I've enjoyed that part of it.
Do you have any problems? It's one thing that I have issues with. I can ad-lib, but try to remember scripted lines.
I'm actually really good at remembering lines.
Are you really?
We did the Helix Academy movie.
Oh, sure.
And for the big party scene, they basically texted me a long script of things I can say about cameras, and I memorized the entire thing after reading it like 3 times.
That's impressive. I need to read it about 50 times. Hey, one thing, I just saw it peeking out there. I've seen it in your scenes a lot of times. I'm not 100% sure what it says. What is that tattoo?
Oh, this one?
Yeah.
Stay weird.
Now, what's the motivation behind that, having a little stay weird on your left chest, left upper pec, I guess?
It's my first tattoo, and I saw it online, and I thought it was really cool, and I put it over my heart, as kind of stay true to yourself kind of thing.
Do you feel yourself that you're weird? Does it feel
Oh yeah,
weird doing this?
everyone's weird. Everyone's weird in their own way.
How long? All right, now you've had a quarter of a century of life now. How much longer do you think you'll be staying with Helix, or do you think you'll stay in gay and adult entertainment, or what's your future plan?
The goal is to not be in adult entertainment. I want to get into mainstream acting or music.
Are you a musician? I mean,
I play instruments. I went to school for music production as well.
Did you really? Where at? Where in?
In LA. It was just a technical school for it.
Just to digress for a moment, when did you first, now that you're one of the senior performers, but going back in time, when did you realize that you were gay? I mean, you're a beautiful man, and I'm sure the girls in middle school were crawling all over you. So how did you deflect them, and when was the time that you knew you were gay?
So oh God, when did I know? I probably knew around 6th grade, 7th grade. I did the whole, I might be bi thing.
Right.
And I dated girls all the way up until my freshman year of high school, at which point then I kind of started coming out. And
was this in California?
Yeah, this was all in California.
Yeah, so
6th grade was Oregon. But
so how'd your parents react? Were they pretty positive, or how did that go?
It came in stages. My mom didn't handle it very well at first, but my dad handled it well. And then they flipped. My mom got good about it and got used to it. And then my dad is the one who decided to become a Bible thumper.
What's this supposed to be from living in Orange County?
He's from Texas, Oklahoma.
Oh, okay, but that's the same story. Same story.
He's good now. He was just going through some stuff, but like it was just weird up and down.
Well, they certainly. I've talked to some of the talent here, and a couple of them say their parents don't know. Some of the newer talent, certainly yours do. How do they feel about it now? What's their thought about it now?
About being gay or porn?
Porn. Well, really both. Yeah.
Okay. Being gay, they're fine with it. They've both accepted it, and they're loving and all that. Porn, I think the only people that don't know are my grandparents. Everyone else knows. Most people think it's cool. My mom thinks that as long as I'm paying my bills and being responsible, good for me.
What advice would you have? Because, I almost did back in my day, they didn't even hardly have the videos. They just had the magazine.
The pictures. I wish it was back then.
Do you really?
My job would be so much easier.
How nervous were you the first time?
Super nervous.
Were you really?
Super nervous.
Did you top or bottom your first time?
I topped.
Did you? So that's kind of your lane, so to speak.
I was a top up until at least a couple years in. And then I bottomed for Corbin Colby.
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
sure.
No, I think that was my first.
So if there's somebody who's a young man who's thinking about it, because everybody has thought about it, it's only the 1% or 0.5% or 0.1% that actually do it. But if somebody is thinking about it, the thing that I think you get a misimpression of is the Helix and the whole industry, some kind of coercive environment. It's really not, or you wouldn't have done 60 scenes.
Yeah, no, it's really, you make your own choices. If you enjoy it, you stay in the industry. If you don't, you leave. I mean...
What advice would you give to somebody who's toying with the idea but doesn't know the repercussions? Have there been any, because you've been doing it for a while now, have there been any things that if you say, I wish that didn't happen, a negative repercussion from doing this?
No, I haven't personally had any negative repercussions. Yeah, everything's been pretty positive since I started.
Okay, you got the phone out. We went back. Yeah. Anybody else Anybody else you've thought of here? This is great. This is an envy of millions of gay men around the world, having to look at a scene list of all the people that you have had sex with.
I know.
What a problem you have here.
I know. So, the wrestling movie.
That was fairly recent.
That was fairly recent. I thought that one was really cool because I wrestled in high school. So I became like the stunt coordinator. I think that was what they called
You tossed a couple of guys completely. I mean, you tossed them.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun with that.
And the coach stayed in character.
He did. He actually scared the shit out of me at one point.
Did he really?
Yeah, because I was saying my lines, but not like fully into it. And he just looked at me and said, "Hey, can you try?" and like screamed at me, and I was like, oh, okay, sorry.
What else would you like to tell your fans? Because obviously you have thousands, if not millions of fans out there. What more little tidbit, little nugget about Josh Brady can you give them? Where are you going to be in 10 years? You have a clue?
Oh God, I have no idea. I don't know where I'm going to be tomorrow.
Aren't you going to be at Max Carter's house tomorrow?
Okay, yeah. I'll be back at Max's, but you know what I mean.
That's the thing, especially if you live in Vegas, you really have no idea what the next week holds.
Yeah.
3 months ago, I had no idea I'd be doing this, so there you go.
I feel like.
Josh, it has been great. I won't hold you up anymore. I'll just have to leave while you get to fuck your new boy.
I'll
man.
try to enjoy it, I guess.
Life is tough.
It's a hard life.